Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
I'm Mac.
And I'm Pepper.
And we're finally at our top 10 games of all time.
Finally.
After all these videos, if you've watched our top 60 through 11, you know it's been a long trek through all the games.
So long.
But yeah, so this one, like I had said at the end of the previous video, if you watched that, I don't know, I'm guessing not everyone made it to the end, but I've got quite the shakeup in my list.
Ooh.
So, it's wow.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting to time that so well. We did good.
But yeah, I don't know about these two. They kind of play it pretty safe. So
Yeah.
I'm being a little more ambitious this year. Wow, they're just copying each other.
Yeah,
apparently.
I know, right?
But yeah, kind of alongside these videos, we're doing a giveaway, which you can check out in the description below, kind of how to get entered into that. But we're doing kind of based on subscriber count, potentially giving away more games. And right now, I believe as of filming this, we're at about 442 subs. So that gets us pretty close to giving away 2 games. We're already for sure giving away Wayfarers of the South Tigris, which was at 400 subs, and then King Domino is at 450. So if we can get to that, then we got Azul at 500, Cascadia at 750, and Wingspan at 1,000.
Wow.
So those last 2 might probably be out of the ballpark, but we might be able to get to 500. And depending on where we get from there, we'll debate. We'll see if maybe we can give away Cascadia as well. So
I don't know.
definitely subscribe, and the
It's
higher we
free.
get, the more likely it is. So
Yeah.
yeah. Otherwise, we still appreciate you watching this video. And let us know in the comments below which top 10 you most relate to, or what your top 10 games are. I'm sure you won't relate to mine, because so far, as of videoing this, we've released, I think, 3 pieces of it, and I still haven't had my top 10 be chosen as the best 10 in any of the segments. So,
Poor guy.
not trying to get the fan
Sympathy
support,
vote
but maybe this time. We'll
Pity.
see.
Pity.
But yeah, we can get started with Michaela, since mine's the shocking list.
Oh,
None of you
okay.
have said that, so I'm
Yeah.
assuming you
We
probably
have
got
not
the
claimed
same.
that ourselves.
I think the difference is that I go with the quality and not the hotness. So
So it's got to earn its way in. It doesn't just shoot up.
very rarely has it ever. My number 10 was 9 last year and 8 the year before. So slowly just ticking down, but I think that's just because there's been such great games, as you'll see in my top 10. But an amazing game, the cutest game, it is Sushi Go Party, which is an amazing hand management game and set collection game. It's so cute. You have different Asian dishes like sushi or tofu, tempura, and you put these together to make a menu, and then you're passing around cards trying to put together the best meal to score you points based on the card's different abilities. This game is great at 2 players, it's great at 8 players, it's great.
That's right, it's good at 2 players. This
It's
man
good.
does not believe it. I love it at 2.
Yeah.
You need the
you're
right
so wrong.
cards, I think, for 2.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it gets a little. But
Yep.
I think it's a great game.
Wrong.
There's so much replayability. It's one of our OGs, and it's just held up. I love playing it. We don't play it all that much anymore, just because we have so many other filler games. But I do love this game. I think it holds its place well here in my top
But
10.
how much more filler Walker Harding games?
Who?
No one.
Okay. So my number 10, Sushi Go Party.
That's a good pick, but I would disagree about the 2-player thing. I think it plays best at probably 4 or 5, maybe 3.
Okay.
But it is
Yeah.
very cute. It's a great game. It's probably going to stay in our collection.
Who doesn't love miso soup? Or the
That's
nigiri?
true. Well, I
Edamame.
don't like miso soup, because you know what happens?
I always
You know what
get it.
happens when I play a miso soup?
I play one too.
It
You
makes
know
the
what
list.
happens?
That's what happens.
In sync. My number 10 is... this is actually written down as my number 9, but I'm going to mix it up here. Because I need to shake things up too.
Wow.
This is
Motivated
a
him.
2-player only game from the great Dr. Reiner Knizia. It was 14, then it was 7, now it's 9, huge drop. or 8, 10.
Yeah.
Mixing up these numbers.
Huge drop, 8, 10,
Dusty
9.
doesn't even need 10
Here's
in
what
his top
happens
10.
when you try to make these last minute changes, Pepper. You
Yes.
don't even know what number
I
you're
do
on
have
anymore.
10 games on my list,
Oh,
so no
okay,
extra. So that's
About
the
time.
first.
What do
About
we got?
time.
What do we
Lost
got?
Cities. This is the hand management game. Your hand is so tight. You are playing different colors out, going on expeditions, and once you start an expedition, you want to finish it, because if you do not finish it well, you are going to get some massive negative points.
You're going to get slapped by those
Mhm.
hands.
By those handshakes, they're going to slap you across the face. But when you do get it just right, and when you can get those 8 cards for that bonus 20 points, you know you're getting a great score. And I've seen amazing scores, like, maybe not 200, but very high scores in the hundreds. And I've seen negative scores. So there's a wide range of scores you can get. So it's best to play 2 out of 3 to really even it out to see who the true winner is. But I love it. It's just intense. You're trying to hold cards from your opponent, but your hand's so tight and you have cards that you're saving for yourself. So you're probably going to have to discard something that your opponent wants somewhere in the game. Or maybe you just play them for yourself and just bank negative 5 points instead of giving them possibly plus 15. So a lot of just different strategies that you realize the more you play it. One of my most played. Great game.
It is a very solid game, and unlike Sushi Go Party, this one does
Wow.
play well at 2 players because it's 2 player only.
Nice.
And this one, this didn't make my list, but it is one that's probably, like you said, because it's on Board Game Arena and it's really, really quick on Board Game Arena, it's probably one of my, over the last couple of years, most played, probably in my top 3 most played games. So, yeah, it's one that I really love as well. I don't really have a reason why it doesn't make the list. It probably should, because it's really solid.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh boy, time for the shake-up. I know you want to vote, Zach, but you have one last opportunity here before you open your mouth. Just
to put in the
cut
top
out-
10
cut
of
out
Board
these-
Game Geek,
Cut
even
out
if I
these
haven't played it.
shenanigans, reverse whatever thing you've done.
I've done a couple things, so that's going to be hard for me to do.
boy.
Oh boy.
Starting off with this first one. I think if I tell you what number it was last year, you guys might have a chance of guessing what it is. But 2 years ago, it was number 16.
It's been around a while.
I liked it quite a bit from the start because I think that might have been the first year that we had the game. I don't know. Maybe we had it before that. I'm not 100% sure. But it was number 2 last year, so it's actually dropped.
Oh my god.
It is Maracaibo, which is in the Board Game Geek Top 100, so I am trying to get that vote again.
But he obviously doesn't like it anymore.
I've started my list off this way in the past. I think my last 10 I had probably...
They were all
what-
Spiel winners and top hundreds.
About 8 of my 10 were the top 100, I think. So I'm continuing with that trend. But yeah, this one is one that I just don't think... I don't know if we've played it since we made the list last year, or we may have played it one time right around that time. So it's just kind of not, freshly playing it.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what's brought it down, but still in my top 10, so I really love it. And I would say it's got a lot of really cool things, and they all flow together really well. But I think one of my favorite things is that you can have kind of unique... you're going around a rondel board and taking actions at these various islands, and you can play cards into your tableau throughout the game, and some of those have little helpers or workers on them, and they're correlating to one of those specific numbered islands. And if you go there, you have the ability to use it's kind of a special action to just you, and I just really, really love that mechanism and how that works. I wish more games did something like that. I do like games also where you can kind of add additional actions to places that everyone can use, but this is just kind of feels a little unique where it's only you using it. I really like that quite a bit. But then, it's just a great looking Euro game because it's just got that perfect color of blue and some splashes of green, and the cubes that are on there are red, white, and blue, and they're all nice bright colors.
America.
It's just, it's
I think
just
it's actually Spain, France, and England.
a great production, and it's It's a great Alexander Pfister game. It just gets me excited to try some of his other games. I have
Yeah.
played Great Western Trail a couple times, but not enough to get onto my list yet. So we'll see maybe in future years.
It's a great crunchy game.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, next up, I lied. Great Western Trail.
Could be.
Shaking it up.
My number 9 was 5 last year, and it wasn't on the list before that. So came in with a big debut, and it's dropped just a little bit. I think just because some other games have kind of snuck up there. So
Totally forget what your number 5 was.
it's a beautiful woodland creature theme game. It is Everdell, which if you don't know what that game is by now, you definitely have been living under a rock. But if not,
Wow.
come
Wow.
on, it's Everdell. Like everyone knows Everdell. It's like the next
Everyone.
step. It's like the next step. Okay, if you don't know Everdell, here's what it is.
You're wrong.
It's an excellent tableau building game where you have woodland creatures and different kind of woodland structures, and you're trying to get them out in front of you to score points, and you only have a limited amount of things that you can do. On top of that, there's worker placement, which is really, really tight, where you're trying to gain resources in order to buy those cards in front of you. And so it has this really great season aspect where you're kind of gaining things or going through different seasons as you get workers and get them back. And it's just a solid game. I love them. You can have everything from, I think there's a little lizard to a mouse or an owl.
To be fair, I think that I don't know which ones of those are in the complete collection. Just so you're not getting people too excited.
On the cards?
Oh, on the cards. I thought you meant the little
No.
miniatures.
No.
I was like, here, the little
On
wooden
On the
people.
cards.
Because I was like, I don't think all of those come in the base.
No. Well, there's like the architect otter.
Yes, there are
and
a lot of
yeah,
different animals on the
the
cards.
beaver, porcupines. Yeah, the cards are just so cute. The artwork is amazing on this. It's a great game.
Great pick. My number 9. I'm going to get the numbers straight.
Yeah.
My number 9 took a bit of a drop.
Ooh.
It has dropped kind of like your Maracaibo from number 2, but the number 2 was 2 years ago, long time ago. In between there, it was number 3.
Wow.
Now it's number
Severe
9. Dwellings of Eldervale. Probably the most deluxe.
Love this.
We have a ton of other big games, but nothing has even come close to being as deluxe
Not yet.
as this game. And I'm about to complete the Infinity Gauntlet with the wooden tokens, those little square treasure trove tokens. Finally, were available again, so they are on pre-order, and it's going to complete my Eldervale. But it's an amazing.
Elder Ring.
It's an amazing worker placement game. It's straightforward turns. You either place down a worker or pick them up and activate your customized tableau, which if a game's this big and has this many things to do, it better be easy from turn to turn. And this one is. I have never really struggled just being like, how does this work? What are the steps? I just don't find that enjoyable in a game. It just takes so many more plays to get comfortable with it. I was comfortable with this one from the start, although I did watch like 5 playthroughs before I played it. So, but yeah, just very great, satisfying, big chunks of points as well, which is something I love. Like every turn you could, well, maybe not every turn. Every turn you're gaining chunks of points for the end game. It seems so. I love it, and I like it the most. I think of all of us.
You do.
Wow.
She played it like. You've played it a couple times.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I struggle with the scoring on the game, which holds me back, but you're right. The turns are very simple,
Yeah.
which makes it really approachable. I think seeing the size of the box, you would think it's more difficult than it is, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's just getting the fine-tuning of the scoring down is, I think, the big piece of that.
Yeah.
I would agree.
And variable player powers. Each faction, 16 unique factions, which is similar to another game that will be coming up on at least my list.
Ooh.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I get that they are different, those factions, or
Your
whatever.
units have different abilities.
Well, yeah, but yeah, I do like the units having the base difference of
The base
abilities,
difference.
but I think like the extra top or like
Yeah, the additional one. I
The
think they're
additional
pretty
ones.
good.
for some of them.
I think they're game breaking. Other games have game changing the way you play the game. These break the game.
That's true. That's fair. That's
They're
fair.
great.
It's a good
But
pick.
it is a
They're
good
fantastic.
pick.
We're not gonna
It was
tear
my
apart.
number 15.
Yeah.
So I definitely love this game too.
It was not in my top 60, but you know.
It is very approachable.
Somehow I'm more
for
upset
how
with
big
him.
it is.
Yeah, I know.
For how big it is,
Yep.
it's very approachable.
Yeah.
Kind of like my number 9, which is actually my number 7 2 years ago, and my number 11 last year. And
It's like, no, you come back here into that top 10.
unlike Maracaibo, I don't know if I've played it since last year. Maybe once. I'm
Do
not
we still
100%
have this
sure.
here?
No, we do not have this here. But yeah, this is like dwellings, and you are putting workers onto a spot out onto the board,
Oh.
and you're bringing workers
We
back.
don't have this here.
No.
And-
oh my god.
And yeah,
Wasn't a trade made?
this is Raiders of Scythia for all this reaction going on over here. Or it could sort of do Raiders of the North Sea, but I think if you're doing just base, Raiders of Scythia is better.
Disagree.
It incorporates some of it.
Disagree, but okay.
Wow.
Well, okay, well, now we're making a video on this. About which is
I
better.
played Raiders all of 2 times, or 3
Wow.
times.
Well,
I like
that-
it much better than my one playthrough of Scythia.
Either way, for those 2 games,
Yeah.
it's very similar things for a lot of it. Just kind of, Raiders of Scythia kind of adds in some of the kind of expansion type content.
Seamlessly, I might add. You wouldn't even notice if you weren't comparing them. It'd just
Right.
be like it's
It seems like it just seems like the base game
Hmm.
if you had never played Raiders of the North Sea before.
Yeah.
It's got just that simple mechanic of taking an action by placing a worker on an action space and then pulling one up. And so no one actually owns any. I mean, they own the one worker that they have in their possession, but no one owns any of the workers out on the board necessarily until they take them. So it's just so simple and it works so well that I'm shocked that it hasn't been really used again. Because it just works so well.
Yeah, and they got the different colored maples, so that
Mhm,
kind of
to do different
yeah.
things, which is another cool thing that it just adds that extra bit to the game where it's like, oh, if you place a white worker on this spot, you get a couple more resources, but if you do the black worker, then it's less or whatever. It's really cool how that one works. And then just the rest of the mechanisms when you're going out and doing raids and stuff. And for this one, instead of kind of having to just have a stack of things to complete, you have things out on the board, so you kind of have to raid them first before that,
And reveal
and then
them.
reveal that, and then anyone can do that, second part of paying kind of the resources to get some points and stuff for contracts, and it just works really, really well. And would say initially I didn't love the artwork of this one as much, but I've grown to like it a lot more. I just would say the board itself is a little bit more non-consistent or inconsistent with the different areas, but that does make it easier to. You sometimes get cards that say, like, in this area you gain strength or whatever, a little stronger attack or whatever.
Yeah, it's separated
makes
more
that-
clearly.
Yeah, it makes that a lot easier.
But it breaks
than
up the
I see.
artwork.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons to that, but no, this is a really great game. I think this is my highest Garfield game.
Wow.
But
wasn't it you that? I guess we don't know if any Stonemaier games will be showing up on your list, but
we'll have to find out.
you said you switched over, and 9 is as high as it
Wow.
goes.
Wow, the sass! I can love the Garfield games as much as I want to.
All right, boys. All right.
Just no one else wants to play them with me.
Moving
I'm
along.
gonna have to ask Shem to fly over from New Zealand, take the time out of his day to play with me.
Shem, you are always invited.
Yes.
All right.
He's never picked up that invitation.
Yeah.
Although this is the first time.
He'll watch one of these videos one of these days. All right, my number 8 was 12 last year, and it was 17 the year before. So kind of moving down, and I think that I finally just have come to peace with the kind of chaos factor of this game and like the potential of like take that. I think it works best if you are playing like the optimization of different tiles, but that's neither here nor there. It is Downfall of Pompeii, and this is just an amazing game. Probably a little bit dark of a choice, but in this game, There are 2 rounds. In the first round, you are drawing cards and placing your people out. They were little hexagon pieces, but Jesse got me little toga people, and it is amazing. So you're putting your little
It
toga.
is so much funner to toss them into the volcano instead.
It is so much fun.
It is a human.
It's not. It's a little toga meeple.
Human.
Okay. Well, anyway, too soon since 7080, 7280? Too soon? All right. So in this game, you're trying to get as many people into Pompeii as you can, and then all of a sudden, somewhere along the line, the volcano erupts, and then you need to get your people out as soon as possible. And so, unfortunately, while you're trying to get your people out, the lava is spreading, so they might either fall to victim to the lava, they might get locked out or locked in the city of Pompeii, but you're trying to
Get
save
removed from the board.
Yes,
Mike.
yes, and you throw them in the volcano. And so you're just trying to get as many as you can out, and I just love trying to figure out who to save, who to leave behind, how can I optimize and get as many people out, because that's how you win the game, is by getting the most people out. And so I think there is a little bit of take that, but I think when most people are playing, they're playing to like do the optimal move with that lava tile, and I think that makes the game really good, but there can be some take that. Depending on how people are playing. So there's a caveat with it, but I just love this game. We've played it, I think, in a streak a little bit last year or earlier this year, and I just love it. It's so good. Thank you,
is.
Jess, for getting me this game.
You're welcome. I didn't remember that it was that high on your list in
This
previous years.
underrated one that no one talks about ever. I'll champion
Although
it.
they watch it, because that is the rules recipe video that we did on it is one of our most viewed videos for a long time.
So you can check that out if you want to know how
Yeah.
it's played.
I think that it might involve 2 silly boys running around screaming volcano behind me.
What?
What?
You'll have to
I
find
don't know
out.
what she's talking about.
But yeah, that is a good pick, and it has kind of that fun, unique mechanism where, depending on how many meeples are on a space in
yeah.
Pompeii at the beginning, you can move that many spaces with it. So
You
you
gotta be
kind
the
of are
first out,
playing, depending on if they're like all yours or if they're your
Yeah.
opponents. You're kind of playing that chicken game of which one's the best one to move. Because
Yeah.
if I move this out now, it's gonna go 4 spaces. But this one's closer to the lava, so I should really move that first. But then if they move out of there, it's only going to move 3 or 2 spaces. So yeah,
A lot of clever things. Who's the designer? They did another game. Was it the one who did Carcassonne or Catan? I forget which one. It's one of those, I think.
I don't think it was Catan. I don't think it was close.
I think it must have been Carcassonne designer.
It might be.
Jurgen Reed, whatever the heck
Oh,
his name
yeah,
is.
that's right.
It is Klaus Jürgen Reed.
Yeah, underrated game from
Very
great
nice.
designer.
It definitely looks old.
It
but
does.
it's
But
good.
then it has that like roll up plastic
Amazing
ball.
little
You know?
color.
That goes in the board.
Crazy.
It's amazing.
Best hole in a board in board game. My number 8 is, okay, I said I had only 10 games here. I guess this one might add a few more than just one to the list because it is a series of games. It's got 3 legacy versions, 3 seasons, and about 1 million base games and expansions. That is Pandemic. This was originally 15, then 9, and now it moved up even one more spot to 8, so it might be settling here in this spot, but it's just a great cooperative game, so easy to solo. Just out there, try to cure the disease cubes. Each turn is a puzzle. You get 4 actions. How can you get where you need to get and cure what you need to cure before an epidemic hits and just really messes you up? And there are turns where you can like lose, like you have to go on a track to lose for outbreaks. There's like 8. You could get like 4 or 5 of them in a turn if you trigger an area over and over. Just the outbursts or whatever they're called are just such a great
Nasty.
mechanism and nasty. And the reshuffling of that infection deck as well, like with every epidemic that comes out, it takes the revealed cards, puts them back on top. So if those epidemic cards come out pretty close to each other, they're kind of spaced out in that deck, but they can come pretty close to each other, possibly back to back, and that's not a good day. But so satisfying when it does work out, and especially when it comes down to the final few turns, and the legacy even adds a great story to go along with it throughout the months that you're playing. We have videos on that, so go check those out. And we'll have to get to Season 2 and 0 someday soon.
Yes, that is a great choice, Pepper. I will agree that was kind of one of the couple first ones that we got into when we started playing some more cooperative games, which wasn't initially kind of our style of game, but now I've grown to appreciate those more. And yeah, it's a great system. It was a great design. She does not agree, but
you can join in Season 2. It'll
No
win you over. Oh, once
Thanks.
once you feel the Gus Smiley charm.
he's gonna put on the charm.
I don't think so.
Wow. Well, you will agree with
I don't
my number
enjoy
8.
sitting there for 2 hours being told what to do.
Okay, I don't think any of the games we played, even one of them, took 2 hours. But maybe. You never know.
Alright,
You never
what's
know.
your number 8?
Well,
6.
I was trying to say by number 8 you'd agree with that.
Okay.
But now I don't know if you will.
Oh. Spicy.
But it's a crossover in this 10.
Oh, you didn't think I'd agree?
I don't know anymore. It was number 30 2 years ago. Number
Ooh.
6 last year, so it's dropped just slightly. And that's probably because we played this definitely less than we played it the year before. It is Everdell, because this was in our 10 by 10. So yeah, that's where it really grew to love the game, because initially I think the thing that makes me love it, I do love worker placement, do love the tableau building with your cards. That's all good stuff. But the puzzle that really gets me is trying to, because this is like an efficiency type puzzle, but you're trying almost not to be too efficient, because then you get you end up like me, get too many of these cards that are like these green cards that kind of produce things on certain ends of your seasons, while the other players are going into their future seasons and claiming some of the rewards and stuff and building their purple cards instead. And yeah, I just get stuck in the thing of getting too many cards played too quickly, and they're not worth as many points. So it's just that puzzle in my head of trying to be like, okay, I could play that, but then that's going to, if I play this, because the other cool thing in it is you can play things and then get other cards for free, because they go together, because you build a construction and then you have an animal that goes with it. But if I play both of these, they're only worth like 1 point each, so that's not going to be nearly as good if I play this palace or whatever some of the purple ones are. So yeah, it's just that nice feeling of trying to be efficient, but not too efficient, because if this had an unlimited, because you're bound to 15 cards. If it had an unlimited card thing, oh boy.
Yeah.
I don't think the game would probably work anymore then.
No.
It would be a totally different, it would probably work, it would just be a totally different game.
Yeah.
So, well, we might have to try that sometime.
No.
I'd be interested to see how many cards. It might get out of hand, though. I don't know if that.
Comment below if you want to see us do some wild house rules. I've thought of a few over the years.
Oh boy.
And there's one right
That's
there.
a
Add it
great
to the
one.
list.
That is a great one.
Danger. All right.
I was definitely writing something down there.
My number 7 was 6 last year and 9 the year before, so kind of just bouncing around. And it makes me sad because we haven't played this.
6, 9, 6, 9, 6, 9.
No, I did not. Kind of makes me sad because we haven't really played this one a whole lot, but it's been solid since the day we got it. It was probably one of the first few in our collection, and it's been solid every playthrough since. It has so much replayability. I just love it. It's Ethnos. Which is just a great game. You have set collections. There's so much replayability. There's so many different factions you can play. And then on top of that, there's area control, which I really don't like in most games. And I wouldn't say I love that aspect in this game, but it works for what the game is. And so even if you aren't getting the area control, you can still build sets because those are going to score you points for the end. So I feel like it's really good in that aspect, in that there's multiple ways you can earn points, and big points too, not just small ones. And so I think it's just great. You can play with giants if you want to. You can play with trolls if you want to. You know, there's so much variability in what you can do with those factions. And I think each gameplay has been different and unique because of them. And I just love them so much. I love this game.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm a bit scared of area control, just
Yeah.
not being able to really hold on to that.
Yep.
Um,
It's like I fought for it so hard, and then
Yeah.
you take it away from me, and then I gotta fight for it again. I'm tired of
Yeah.
this. No.
yeah, but
Have
I
it.
don't mind it in this game somehow. Maybe it's just kind of like the awarding for second place, third
Mhm.
place. You do still get points.
Yeah.
Although randomly putting out there, it may be 0 points.
Yeah.
But like you said, you still get points from those sets, so you do have control over that at least.
Mhm.
I mean, sometimes maybe you just don't get the cards you need, but
Which is very true.
you do have. It feels like more control than some
Mhm.
area control games.
Agreed.
Mhm.
Agreed.
And it's definitely one of those quick, snappy turns.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's
You play, you draw, or you.
You know.
That's it.
It's really a shame though that it didn't have any expansions. Or I think it has like maybe a promo thing because it was definitely built to have expansions.
I don't think it needs them, but that's
I mean, I don't
just me.
know if it does have enough kind of different ones that you can put
Yeah.
together and stuff.
They
but
put a good bit in the game.
they did,
thankfully.
luckily. But it could always use more.
Could always.
Yes.
Just because it's like Sushi Go, turning into Sushi Go Party.
Yeah.
It's essentially what that it. Well, I don't think you've just played the base Sushi Go,
Mm-mm.
but yeah, it's essentially the same thing. I would think they could have just added more to do a few more things, but sad that I don't think that'll happen now.
This
But-
game needs a reprint. My goodness.
No, it doesn't. It's perfect.
Don't get me
Weird-
started on that
Weird
reprint.
neon tiles and all.
How did they make a game look worse than the original? No!
My.
They had the softball lobbed in there for a home run, and what do? Bunt it. With the infield playing in.
You don't even watch baseball.
Oh, I watch baseball.
You
I
should have
know.
just said total nonsense, because that actually made sense. My 7. Talk about a home run with this game. Was my 25 and 29. Zach was very upset with those placements. I think he will be a little happier
So
now
it
that it
dropped
is
like 18.
Well, if I was
It
upset with it, I don't think
climbed.
7 is good at all.
All these spots to 7. It was my number 1. I was the first one to make this my number 1 game.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
said-
it's ever even been your number 1 game. And that is Wingspan.
Ooh.
A stone marking. Where are they? Right there.
Spanchy.
Right there. Birds. What a theme. It's open to everybody. I mean, it's not like Everdell is creatures, but they also have their own like
Hmm.
city going on down
Professions.
there and professions. These are just birds as they are, as you see them. It's birds, and it's approachable, and it's a beautiful, beautiful cards. All of them are unique artwork-wise. Some of similar abilities, but there are still a lot of abilities. And if you have the expansions, which we do have all the expansions, they add even more unique things, even a little push your luck. Finally, in the Asia expansion, which also introduced an awesome 2-player game. So if you're interested in Wingspan,
Haven't
and you only
played it
play 2 players, I would actually recommend the Asia standalone 2-player expansion, because it adds a nice little board that I wasn't sure about, but you put tokens out there and you can gain different benefits points out there with those, and it actually works really well. But yeah, just building your engine and improving your action while you play your birds out there is just seamless. It's doing multiple things at once. It's amazing, smooth. It probably climbed because we did enter the World Series of Board Gaming for this game, and we played it a bunch, and it just never got hurt with all those plays. And I did make it through the first round, so
Which is
that
more than
feels
Zach
good.
could say.
Wow. Taking smack shots at me. Wow. Now I don't even know if I want to say my number 7.
Well, you better. The people are dying.
They're dying, waiting to hear what I've got to say. Yeah, much like, I'm trying to think. Is Raiders of the North Sea still in the top 100? If it is, then I think this might be my 4th straight game in the top 100 of Board Game Geek. But it was number 7 last year, so it hasn't moved. The year before it was not on my list. And I was not expecting it at that point to probably ever be in my list, just because of the theme. It was not one that was appealing to me. And when Jesse got this one, along with getting Project Elite, which I think was on his list earlier, so you can go back and check that out. This one, I don't know which one I thought was...
Raiders of the North Sea is 100 right now.
Oh, boy.
You
Not-
just snuck in there.
Not Scythia?
Yeah, probably not Scythia specifically, but it should be. But this one is Cthulhu Death May Die. I'm not a big fan of the Cthulhu theme, but the way this game plays, I mean, I think it's really the gameplay. It could have probably been a whole nother theme or something, but I think it works because you're kind of, as you're going mad or getting closer to death, which is kind of, I guess, the thing.
The same thing.
I guess the thing that's kind of in the Cthulhu world is he makes you go mad or whatever it is. I don't know the lore, but you kind of get stronger and stronger. So just kind of this cool escalating game where it's like, oh no, I'm almost gonna die, but now I can do extremely powerful things. I'm gonna be a lot better at doing things, but then I think you're also more likely to kind of die at the same time. So it's kind of this mix, and yeah, it always ramps up every single game because of that. And whether you win or lose, it just is. It's always satisfying. You're rolling a ton of dice by the end of the game for sure, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Versus probably a lot of my other games on here are more like strategy, more crunchy brain burner games, and this one's just fun. It's the dice rolling game that's really got me. I don't know.
Wow.
But yeah,
Glad I could bring a little fun into your life.
someone had to.
Wow. Okay.
No, you bring fun into my life every day.
Unforced error.
Wow.
Pepper made me say it accidentally. I wasn't even thinking.
Okay.
You bring fun with your downfall of Pompeii.
I don't have Cthulhu's madness, I guess. Alright, my number 6 was 21 last year, and not on my list before. So I think I kind of rated it conservatively last year, if 21 can be considered conservative in a top 50. But it is one of the best polyomino games ever. Out there ever. It's amazing. It is Planet Unknown. Because you get your own little planet, and there's polyominoes that you have to put on it, and you're trying to get these terrain pieces to kind of match up depending on what your goals are. And then on the side, you've got what I'd consider like a player track, and depending on what type of terrain you lay, you move up and down this track. It has these amazing, cute little rovers that you put on your planet, and you try to pick up meteorites and like little life pods to try and score more points. And then once you're done with the base version, baby, there are like at least 10 other maps you can try. And there are like 10 other player tracks you can try. So you can just switch up your difficulty level, and you can change it up so many times. And to top it all off, to hold the polyomino shapes is a Lazy Susan, which is part of the game. So it's like, it's not even like a useless piece, but like as it turns around, like depending on where it stops, you know, for the current player, you end up with a tile, and that depends on where the Lazy Susie ends up, and you have to take the tile, one of the two, and you got to make it work. And so I just love that aspect of it, of like, hey, this is what you're given, make it work for what you need. And you get these crazy wild planets that, like, you can't cross this, I don't know, ice thing. You can't do this. It has to be in a certain way. What's the one? You slide it in.
You
like
have to be able to slide
Tetris.
it in.
Yeah. So it's just, I
that
love
one
this
has
game.
messed me up.
I love this game. It's amazing.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Wonder if in early design they didn't have the Lazy Susan. It's just like everybody get around, and the leader just walks you around the table. Okay, right here.
It's just genius how well that works. I've
It
played so
is
many
amazing.
polyomino
Makes
games,
the game.
and it's just always, you know, but this one is like, whip that baby around.
No. Well, you mentioned all the mats, and I think Tom Vassel's even said that he doesn't even play with the different mats, and he still really likes it.
Oh, he
So
just plays with the base?
I think so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everyone can play with the base because,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good pick.
Great pick.
It's a great pick.
It's a two-way crossover so far.
I'm
That's
glad
probably all it will be.
I think I know.
My number 6 is a crossover on this section.
Ooh.
not on the number, because I've already said Planet Unknown. It was Noodleless last year at 14. And Zach had it higher than me last year, so now I had to make sure.
Put you to shame.
And I didn't even have a number slotted, so I just waited until he said it. And it's
Just say the
Cthulhu,
number out.
Death May Die.
Wow.
It's an amazing game. It's madness. Glorious madness. I mean, I agree with everything you said. You're getting crazy. You're getting so powerful. Game-breakingly powerful. Where it's just like, wait, you upgraded this. It's like, oh, that's awesome. But it includes everything else you've already unlocked on that track. It's like, oh my god. How is this allowed? And then you die next turn. Okay, I see. That's why it was allowed, because I was about to die. But yeah, just the moments that can happen. I just remember in one of our games, it was right near the end, it was my last turn. I had like no health left, so I ran around the board, and one of the best mechanisms in a game. Any enemies, monsters on those spaces, if you move through
You mean
that
the best
space,
or worst?
wow. Best or worst, depending on the
Yeah.
situation. But they follow you when you move through their space. So I gathered up everything on the board, and we were in the same space, and we traded some items so that I could go into the next room and blow them all up with me, taking us all out and giving a big punch to Cthulhu as well. And then you went on to win that game for us in my honor.
Exactly.
And that was just... If that kind of story, that kind of moment sounds fun to you, then this is for you. If it sounds like not at all what you're looking for in a game, then it's not what you're looking for.
Right.
It's,
But yeah. It makes those stand-up moments that really makes it great. So, yeah, that's a great pick. And you might even like it even if you tend to like heavier games.
Yeah.
Not necessarily I don't know if it'd be considered more Ameritrash.
Yeah.
More than Euro.
Yeah.
But I like both, so
Yeah.
it's worth a try.
Trash. Accurate.
Wow.
No, it's not trash. It's,
Wow.
Well, you know, it's probably in like a bottom 60, man.
yeah, you do. You do.
Oh boy. Well, all I know is
I've only played it once. I haven't played it since November last year.
it's true.
So.
That's how much you despise it.
It's in,
You'll get it played
it's
more.
in Florida.
You'll
so.
get it played more.
Uh-huh.
I promise.
Oh, God. We don't need 2 copies of this game.
Oh.
Not of the same version.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
But yeah, unlike the stand-up moment of this is going to be kind of a sit-down moment,
Oh, boy.
and you guys are probably going to give me a lot of trash about this, I'm sure, over the next year.
The trash bin is right there. I'm going to
So
go
you guys
pick
are
it
going
up.
to probably
Cthulhu's already in it.
a moment of silence for this,
Oh,
even though you guys
okay.
are laughing
My God, he's
hysterically. Because this
It's
may
a
have been
drop.
my number one the last 2 years.
Oh.
And this is
No.
where the list
This
gets
is a
really
joke.
crazy. It gets really crazy.
Don't
'cause
say it. This is your last.
Tapestry.
He loves this game so much.
Tapestry. I've loved it
I'm
ever
bring-
since the first time
I'm
I
bringing
played
it to Florida.
Ever since the first time I played it, I loved this game. And I still love it. It's my number 6. I love all these games.
Even
And
top
just
5.
So if someone said, "What's your top 5 games?" You wouldn't even mention this. You
I,
wouldn't even think of
it would probably end up on my list just because it ended up on the top 5. Just because if someone asked that, I would always think in my head Tapestry's still my favorite one. But as I was thinking and going through the rankings, I'm like, haven't played it as much recently. Kind of as they've added more and more content to
Looking
it.
at you like Stormbreaker when Thor went back to Mjolnir.
Wow, that is how it is looking at me, sadly. But yeah, no, this one, it's got so much good stuff in it, and I still love it, even though it's number 6.
I mean,
it could
all-
easily go right back up.
I feel like all 10, maybe top 15 to 20, can be considered top game of all time, like
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah, I would agree. And yeah, this one's got some of the most simple use of kind of going up different tracks. It's not really a tech tree, but it's kind of like, I don't know, could it be a tech track?
There
Kinda
is
get
a
better-
tech track in the game.
I mean, there's a tech track in the game, but I mean, like, I don't know, they get better
Yeah,
and better.
It's kind
tend
of
to
the
get
same
better and
action,
better.
but it gets better and better.
Yeah. So it sort of is. It's a Civ themed game. We recently played one time Through the Ages,
Oh, yeah.
and if I'm comparing it to that, I'm like, okay, yes, this is not even close to a Civ game if that's what a Civ game is considered. But no, I love the way the tracks work, and it's much more simple than I think a lot of Civ games would
Yeah.
be, just because there's a lot of complexity with that. This one has a lot of simplicity, and you kind of can plan ahead a little bit as to what you can do, but there are still some decisions you have to make where it's like, well, if I conquer, there's a chance that I can get, another kind of item to use, resource to use to do another action, but there's that chance you might roll, get what's on on the space that you just conquered. So you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah. Get you nothing, maybe if you're
Right.
going for the
Potentially.
center island, or it could get you maybe another income building off. So
Right.
it can really change things up. And
Yeah, for sure. And I think this one, there's definitely some swingy scores, and I get where people are saying things aren't balanced and stuff, but I think if you go into it knowing, like, hey, there's a chance that the scores are going to vary by 100, 200 points possibly. If you're fine with that, then that's good, and you're just kind of trying to do the best you can with what you get. If you're fine with that, that's good. If you really don't like that and you really like your games to be close, this is definitely not the game for you, because things are very, very swingy in this game. But I think that's what can make it really, really fun, because you'll have a moment where it feels like perfect gameplay moment where it's like, I have exactly the right amount of resources to trigger that, and then I get the exactly right tapestry card that I needed. It's just makes for some great moments.
yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Whew, wow.
I
I
think-
never thought I'd see the day. All right, my number 5. And these 5 are like the creme de la creme. The top 10 is so hard to do, but I felt like the top 5 was even harder. Maybe top 6. Planet Unknown 2 is just, it's amazing. This game was number 8 last year, and it was not on my list the year before that, so it came in with a big bang when we got it.
like a rag.
It shot into the top 10, and it's only getting better, and I think that these top 5 are just going to interchange and stay where they are. I cannot imagine a game that would be better than my top 5, so it's getting wild.
Challenge accepted.
It's getting wild in here.
We've got a few
I
games we gotta
am
play.
Obsessed with this game. I tell this joke every time I talk about it. It is obsession. I love this game. It is hand management. It is deck management, kind of, whatever, set collecting.
Deck building.
Deck building, that's the word for it. You have little workers that you have to place, but you've talked about it in one of our previous videos, so go check that out. But you're trying to coordinate all of these different aspects of which servants to use, and who do you play, and what do the rooms require, and
What's your prestige level?
yeah, exactly. What's your prestige level? How can I play this card? No, I can't. So I don't know.
Yeah, I get so caught up so many times. I'm
Mhm.
like, I got that. And that. Oh, I'm not even close to getting this card.
I know there's all these factors, and
Mm-hmm.
I was scared because you kept mentioning it, and I was like, well, I know what this is supposed to be, and for
Thematically.
me, I know it's supposed to be thematically, and that's like my favorite book of all time to compare it to, and so like for them to put something out there that's like in the ether comparing it, I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna live up to the hype. I'm very afraid, and then it just randomly came for Christmas a few years ago, and I was like,
Oh, it was
boy.
planned.
Yeah, I was like, oh boy, he really wants to try this out. And I was really scared, and it took us a few months to get it to the table. But after we did, I was like, this is amazing. And it is still amazing. It will always be amazing. I cannot wait for every gameplay of this. It's just, I love it. Even if I lose, I love it. The puzzle, I love it. I love it.
Keep that quote, Pepper.
I love it. What?
Well, if you ever do get mad after a gameplay of it, do you
Oh, I mean, I'm not
do
saying
you-
when I get mad.
do you promise to play another game right after it?
No, I don't do that for anything. I don't do that for anything. I get my high and then I go.
That is a good
It's a
pick.
good game. It's a good game.
I love that game
Great
so
pick.
much. I love
Crossover
all
with
these
me.
games so much. All right, Jesse. Sorry.
My number 5. No one has any clue what my number 5 is, except for me. And it was 17. Then it was 13. Now it's 5. I don't know if we really played it any more than we have previously, but just a dang clever game from a dang clever designer.
Oh, I know what this is.
And I had to
Is
put
it-
it. I had to
Oh,
put
is
it
that
at this
reason it's
number.
at number
I
5?
had to put it at this number. Don't lie, it's your number 5 too. That is Five Tribes from Bruno Catala, the best designer in the world. And it's Mancala. You pick up this tile full of meeples. You Mancala move them, drop one at each spot. And that last meeple on a space with a matching maple of the same color. And each color has its own unique ability that you get to activate. It could be assassins, where you're killing other tiles and maybe claiming them for your own. It could just be gaining a ton of money if there's a bunch of blue ones around there, or gaining the set collection cards. Just so much variability. We've played the 2 of the expansions. Did we play them together
I think
for
so.
the first time? I don't know if that was the best idea, but I enjoyed both of them and what they brought. But even just base game is so variable from game to game, and the bidding is probably my favorite use of bidding. Bidding for turn order, because you're bidding your points, so you totally have to think, what points am I going to get? I need to figure out the numbers of what I can get if I pay for the first 2 actions, which I prefer it highly at a 2-player game, because you get 2 actions per turn.
It's his
per
best
round.
designed 2-player game.
Yes, yes. It's just something else. I mean, it was one of the first games that we got, it can be pretty thinky, and it's probably not the best game to get third into your collection, but
Analysis paralysis.
but I mean, we've loved it from our first play. It's amazing. It's a perfect design. We have all loved it.
Including Michaela. She loves the game. She asks to play it all the time.
I haven't played it ever since the first play. I literally have only played it one time.
You have only one.
Only one.
Oh my god.
Because it left such a sour taste in my mouth. But I think that was like literally.
Why were you tasting the pieces?
But I think it was just like literally like one of the heaviest games we had gotten. It was like one of our earliest games, and I was not ready for that wild mind crazy thing.
She's
So
ready
I think
now.
if I played it again, I'd probably
You'd love it.
understand it more.
Yeah.
I do not think this is in contention for me to love it, just given what I know about the
Really
game.
love it.
You love Splendor Duel, Seven Wonders Duel, Bruno Catala, 2-player
I know,
games.
but the
Yeah, it is a lot.
mechanisms in this is way different than anything that
There's
I
like-
love.
She doesn't like Crusaders.
I
She
do
got the
too.
Mancala.
Wow. All
That's
right.
great. I remember the
on.
first time I played it. It was, what was it, the day after Thanksgiving? I know we had some leftover water chestnut casserole. We were digging into that, playing Five Tribes. It was a little snow outside. It was one of the best days of my life.
Think
Surprised
back
Diane
on it
never
fondly. Unfortunately, this is not a crossover on the number. It is not my number 5.
He might have had it already. I may have forgotten.
My
Probably.
number 5 was number 5 2 years ago, and was number 4 last year. And this was a game that I played at the World Series of Board Gaming. Although, unfortunately, unlike you, I did not get to play it
Well, then it could be 2 games.
with Stephen Bonacore.
Oh my goodness!
This is Terraforming Mars. And, yeah, it's just...
Let it be
Much
noted,
like
I
Caps-
offered him the chance because I knew he loved it so much more than I did. But he was kind enough. He wanted it into my top 60.
That's
you
what I was
played.
trying to
He
do.
was trying to
And
manipulate
it worked.
But yeah, this is a great game. Kind of like I said with, I mean, any of these, depending on the mood I'm in, because this is a longer game. Even with Prelude, it's still a bit longer. It's thinkier. But yeah, it's one of the greatest. I can't say the greatest because I may have another one on my list of ones with different cards. Completely, the whole set of cards that you're using is different cards.
Oh, yeah.
I have another one, but it's one of the best. And you're building a tableau and getting stronger in certain areas, and yeah, there's just so many different strategies you can take. Yes, Pepper, gonna complain that you can't always play all the cards, but who wants to buy all those cards anyway? They're
What?
expensive.
I love that in the game.
And discounts and stuff, and then you're just placing pieces out on the board. So you take a board that is not the greatest looking.
It's
I
pretty
will
good
admit.
looking.
I mean, it's fine, but
It gets better.
I think it gets a worse rap than what it really is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just that it's such
I've
a
seen worse.
well-regarded game that I
Yeah.
think it's like, oh, this should be so much better because
Yeah.
this is a
production.
It's another one that is in the top 100.
They got the big box though now, so you can get the big box
That's
and
true.
the shiny little
But-
pieces.
Yeah, when you're putting even when you're putting out just the regular different cardboard pieces as you're putting greeneries out and putting cities out, it fills up the map and it starts
Yeah.
looking pretty nice, I would say. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. I love the card play in it. You're trying to get the discounts. You can only take 2 actions at a time, and that can make for every time it's your turn, and that can make for some interesting decisions on timing, depending on like if I've met this requirement for some prize or whatever. It's like, oh, do I do that first, or do I put a greenery out because someone else might play a card and destroy all my plants?
Yeah.
So there is some take that in it, but it's not the worst. I think it's just in the, I don't want to say the spirit of the game, because the spirit of the game isn't like just reckless trying to kill everyone's plants. But I think it kind of sort of makes sense maybe. But yeah, this one is just great. There's just so many pieces to it. From the first time I played it, I was just like so amazed. I'm like, holy smokes. Because I thought, when I'm seeing all the things and initially looking at the cards, I'm like, okay, this is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And when I figured out what was going on, I'm like, yes. This
More
game
of
is
this,
amazing. I can see why people love this.
Yeah. That's a good game. I
Mm.
agree. It was in one of my previous listings. So you have to go check out
Three-way
those videos.
crossover. He
Look
got
at
to
that.
us.
We
He
can-
got to us.
We can keep terraforming Mars. All right. Good choice. Good choice. My number 4 was 7 last year, and it was 5 the year before. So kind of bounce it around a little bit here. Again, I don't know. These ones are just depends on the day, I think, and when I rank them. But this is the purest form of machine and engine building there ever has been, and I
And
disagree.
Jesse doesn't respect
She's
it.
gonna,
I disagree
she's
with
gonna pull another
anybody.
joke here
I
that she
disagree
does every time.
with anybody who doesn't like this game. I disagree with them. 100% because it is a wonderful world.
It's a wonderful game, Mac.
It is. It's a wonderful
You're obsessed
game.
with this game. It's a wonderful game.
Hey, look, someone's
They
got
say it every time.
someone's
Someone
got to
does
bring
it.
the humor to this video. So
It
it's
is a good game. It's a
it
great
is
game.
It's like all you're doing is drafting cards as you pass decks of cards around the table, and then you're trying to build those based on previous cards that you'd already built, gaining resources from your cards, and then trying to score points at the end. I never tire of this game. We recently played through like a
She once went 24 hours.
I did not, but
Playing
we
it
did.
nonstop.
But we did go through a campaign recently, and I think we played 2, if not 3 games
I
in a
guess
row
at least 3, if not 4.
to get it finished out, and it was great. And I don't play games multiple times in a row, so
No, you don't.
I know. But we played this one 3 times in a row in one day, and I wasn't like upset by it. I mean, I was happy to play it. It's
Disgusted
obviously
by
one of
it.
my favorite games ever, and so I think that just speaks to like, even though it's simple, it's a big presence. I feel like, and deserves. I feel like anybody we teach this to loves it, minus Jesse. But he's weird, so whatever. But it's a great game, and I can't recommend this game enough. So
It is great.
I know.
It will.
Quick, snappy turns.
It was on my list one year, I think.
Just 1 year.
Yeah, it's an amazing game.
It is. I love it so much.
You can find that in the last segment of 10 if you haven't watched. For me.
Could find that in like 15 segments ago.
These
for
are
me.
like games I'd I'd hug in
Sleep
bed
with.
if I was a child still. You know, like your comfort animals, your stuffies. These are the games that come to bed to sleep to comfort me.
She still only dreamt about one game.
That's true.
Go
Was
find
it Clank?
Yes,
Yeah.
Clank Legacy.
Yeah.
My 4.
I haven't even
Yes.
been thinking about what you guys still have left.
I've been-
dropped a lot.
I know
of
two
games.
of yours,
I've got 4
for
of
sure.
yours. I've got 4. I just don't know
I
which
know
order.
one that's gonna be on your list. I got a few drop offs of my list. One of them you guys are going to be shocked,
Wow.
maybe. But my 4 is It's a lot of 2019 games here. We got Wingspan was 2019, Sushi Go Party was 2019. We've mentioned a bunch of others. It was a great year for games that we added to our collection. This is another one. Ethnos is another one. We got Ethnos along with this one, The Quacks of Quedlinburg. And this one just came around in such a hot year that I'm like, how has this game never been my number one game of all time? It deserves it. It was 5, and now 4.
Ooh.
You know, I probably haven't even played it in a year. I just love it that much. Push your luck. And these two hate it now.
I don't hate it.
You're building your bag yet.
That's
All
right.
random ingredients. Who?
She hates it.
I do. It's in my top 60.
That's true.
Just random ingredients. I don't care if it says you have to use book 1 of this, and this. It's like, no, I'm throwing them randomly in there. Except always use the 6 pumpkin. 'Cause gotta get that 6 pumpkin.
Gotta have
And
that
if there's
option.
any way to double that 6 pumpkin, you gotta do it. But yeah, it's just push your luck, pull from your bag, see what you get. Maybe you have a horrible round, but you can have a horrible round and still win the game. You can have a couple horrible rounds and still win the game. It's just unlike any other game that we have. Just pure bag building. I love bag building, deck building, any pool building. It's amazing. Everyone kind of gets their unique strategy, and even if you do kind of go for the same chips, sometimes it works out better for one than the other, and it's just the expansions are great. The second one does add some time to the game. I believe the Alchemist or whatever it is. So I don't know. I initially was thinking play it every time because I loved it, but maybe not every time because it does increase the length. But they do add so much good stuff. It's a great game.
It is a great.
It is.
Phenomenal game, and
Great
another
game.
three-way. We have so many three-way crossovers. We went down. I mean, we'd have 10 more games this year, but we went down from the first year to the second. I think we're going back up. Like
I
a,
think so.
a
too. I
large
think we have a
amount.
lot more.
I
A
love that
large
Jesse
amount.
has stats on like all of them.
Oh, check out the stats videos coming out.
Yes, and I think I'm going to, with my number 4, make another 3-way crossover. And I've also crossing over with Michaela in this very 10
Ooh.
with this game. I will agree that it is, it was my number 13 last year. It was not on my list the year before. It just shot up to towards my top right away. And I think it was pretty fresh at the time when it got all the way up to 13 last year. Otherwise, it probably could have been right up here. I just didn't know if it was the freshness of it. But this is Planet Unknown, the greatest polyomino game ever made. It's just,
Okay.
oh boy, that Lazy Susan. Who would have thought a gimmick thing like that would just make the game work so perfectly?
Old Suze.
Old Suze. And yeah, I like using the different mats and the different boards or whatever, combining those. It just gives you so much different replayability. And even without that, I think if you did just play with the base stuff, just kind of putting the tiles together, you can kind of take different routes based on, this time I'm going to try to get a bunch of, what are they, the Civ type,
Oh,
or
yeah.
the tree ones, or tech, or whatever you're going to go for. Just have those different options to play, and yeah, just trying to fit things in there is just really, really cool. It's got the tracks, just comes together as a complete package, and it just, because of the Lazy Susan and then those really nice tiles, it just has really great table presence, and your board feels like you accomplished something by the end of the game, even if you have a bunch of meteors all over the board that you're trying to collect. But this one was robbed of the Kinderspiel, and I
Yes,
will
it
not
was.
let it go unheard.
Who won it instead?
Was it which one was the one that won it?
Oh,
Challengers
I
or
think Challengers won it.
the other one? There was
I
two.
think it was Challengers.
I didn't agree with either of them. But Challengers is the more blatant one. But
Yeah. And you still haven't used the events in the game.
Yeah.
Why
I read them, but
Yeah,
they're not good.
You've never played with them, but you love it so much. I mean, they put it in there. You should try it once.
We could try it.
I know it's gonna backfire on me, but
You could try anything.
We could
once.
try it. I don't really want it to drop for my number 4 though.
Wow.
So
That's
it's
good.
really, really great the way it is.
Yeah. See? See?
I don't think that. Well,
No,
I shouldn't say that because I don't remember what they had in the recent Kickstarter. But I don't
Yeah.
think they added more events.
no.
They might have even taken them out of
I'm
the
just-
base.
That's all you have to pay to get this expansion. Send us your events.
I'd do it.
Wow. All right.
I wouldn't even shed a tear.
My number 3
It's
was
amazing.
my number 3 last
I think
year.
you can probably late pledge for it.
Wow. Okay. You happy? Got the spiel done?
Yep.
Okay. My number 3 was my number 3 last year, and my number 4 the year before that. So the movement within the top 3 is just really blocked up here. I don't know if it'll ever change ever again. But Lanterns Harvest Festival is my number 3. It is one of the OGs in our collection, and it has stood the test of time. It even stood through a 10x10. I only loved it more after that. It is just an amazing tile placement game where you have 4 different sides of the tiles with different colors on them, and you're trying to match them up to other colored tiles of the same type. And the more sides you can match up, the better your benefit is, and you're trying to put together some sets in order to turn those in for points. And so it's really quick and snappy, and I love playing it at 2 players. It's great at 4 players. Like, it just does so well across the player counts that I think it's just approachable. It's easy. I mean, I feel like we've taught it to a lot of people, and people really enjoy it. I love this game. It's so solid. It's so beautiful, and I feel like it doesn't get the respect it deserves for being as simple and pretty as it is, but it's
It's
beautiful.
the Tom Vassell effect. I don't know if he's played it. I remember mentioning one he had
Come
not
on,
played it.
Tom.
What? The man who's
It's so
played
sick.
every game has not played
It's
this
like-
game?
This is an amazing
This-
Tom!
family weight game.
This is
Tom,
the game you champion,
If you're
right?
watching,
Yes.
come on.
It's a classic. It should
Yeah.
be a
Tom, you
classic.
got to go back and watch this game or play this game.
You gotta go back.
It's not that long of a game either.
No.
If he has, maybe he's played it since then. I don't know.
It's a
Yeah.
classic.
I
We'll
don't.
post a review.
Well, sadly,
And
he's-
if you have,
what he's probably
post
done
it
is
again.
he's probably played the dice version of the game, and now
Yeah.
it's turned
Ugh.
off
Wow.
from trying to
You guys
play
really
the original.
hate the dice version, don't
Hey,
you?
you didn't group it in there. You had the opportunity.
Whoops.
Let's all be honest. It's not. It's not the.
It's not Lanterns.
It's not Lanterns.
It's not.
It's all right. My number 3 was 19, and then it was 6, and now it's 3, and it's probably the closest to my heart to game, and one that you got me for Christmas. Just a little card game. I knew nothing about it. Something themed about chameleons, Coloretto. Oh, jeez. That's
I didn't say anything.
a sigh of approval, I believe. But it's just a great card game. You have like 6 different colors, and I play mostly 2 players, so you have areas, you draw a card from the deck, and you place it into one of 3 slots, and they can hold various amounts of cards, 1, 2, or 3, if you are playing 2 player. If you're playing more than that, then each slot can hold 3 cards. But you're playing them out there, and then each turn you can decide whether to pick up a card and place it onto one of these slots, or take one of the existing slots. So if something's getting really juicy, and it's something that you need, but maybe something someone else needs, do you draw another card? Maybe make it better for yourself, but then someone else is going to take it. It's a lot of thinking there for such a simple card game. The scoring is very easy as well. You just score for how many each card in the set. So your first blue is a point, your second blue would be 2 points, third 3 points, up until 6. It's just probably my most played, like physically played game. I have played like hundreds of games of Yahtzee on the internet, but beside that, I think this is probably my most played because my mom loves the game. It's probably her number 1. And I just play it all the time, and I've never gotten sick of it.
It's a great game. It was on my list earlier.
That's right.
It just makes no sense to me that you don't like it, Michaela. It should be right up your alley. I don't
didn't
understand.
say I like detested
I
or
don't know.
anything like that.
I think it's been a while
Beautiful.
since
I just
Chameleons.
think that if I'm gonna play a game like that, I'm gonna want to play Jaipur.
I think you can like both
Yes.
equally.
Yes.
Yeah, where's Jaipur? Not on anyone's list.
I know.
Is it fallen off?
It wasn't on my list this year.
Wow, Maggie.
I don't know
No
if I.
You're
Stone
the-
Age? Oh my goodness.
This might be a first. I don't remember if it was on there last
Oh
year.
my god.
Yeah.
Well, my number
Holy
3.
It might have been the
Classics.
pub meeple ranking.
Pub Maple!
My number 3 was number 23 last year and was not
Oh,
on my list
my
the year
gosh.
before.
Dropped 20 spots.
This one is,
Moved up?
it's
Whatever.
had quite the story overall, I would say, this
Oh
this
yeah.
game. Just because there are a line of events that kind of led it into where it, how it got to even be in the household, and then got to be one of my favorites. Because initially it was nominated for a Dice Tower
Yep.
Award, and then Miniature Market, after the Dice Tower Awards had been announced who had won, Miniature Market happened to have this game on sale, so I was like, okay, I'll get that as a. I think you had won the our predictions. I'm like, oh, I'll get that for Pepper as a. I don't know, as the losing.
Yeah,
person.
the loser had to buy a game.
Right. So I'm like, okay, I'll get him that one. Because I was like, it sounds like it. It's a
Are you
two-player
lost?
only, two-player only
No.
game. Well, I think you can play with more.
Crossover with you.
It's a
Yeah.
crossover with you.
I think, is it unmatched?
It is unmatched. Because then that led to that, and I think we played it like once, and then
And
at
now-
the end of the year we had a top 10 games of the year, and right before we shot that, we played another game of Unmatched, Pepper and myself, and I was so happy with the result that it knocked off the one that was in my number 10 and took the spot, and it's just grown from there. I don't
That's
know.
why my house is full of them.
Full of Unmatched. So yeah, it's
14
it's
sets.
gone through a
I think
story.
we're missing one set.
Well, two.
We need
Okay.
Deadpool. We need Bruce Lee.
Yes. So if anyone is generous enough to sell us those at discounted prices of still probably 50 would be a very huge discount, which is crazy. We might take up those offers. But yeah, this is just a great game. I don't know that I'd love all that many, two-player games where you're just, fighting each other, trying to get your health down to nothing, necessarily. And this one just works. The card play in it is amazing, and all of it's so simple. And the line of sight thing, I think, is what makes it work. If there was like some hard line of sight, this one would never have ever made it on my list. But just with the kind of patterns and the circles, or adjacent for like ranged attacks, or else you have to be right next to the person to attack for melee. It all just works so well. There's so many characters you can get, and we're currently at the end of this, like a week or two from now, we're going to be doing an Unmatched tournament. So if you like Unmatched, you can definitely check out some of those matchups, and I think we'll be giving away one of the possible sets. So might want to subscribe so you see when that drops.
Yeah, that was new to the list for me last year at 39, and I've only got 2 games left. It's not gonna make it, and I felt really bad about that. But for some reason, Unmatched, if I'm not playing it at the moment, I just am not feeling it. But it was just outside my 60, and now that we have been playing it more, I'm like, oh god, this really should have been in like top 30
No
at least.
respect.
I was wondering when we started this, I'm like, I don't think Pepper's said it yet. I'm like, I don't feel like it's his top 10 though, so he must not have it. But I'm like, well, maybe he likes it more
is.
than I
It
thought.
I
is-
even have it in my
It
top.
is so good, and
31.
it really should be on my list. Maybe I can find a reason to group it into one of these top 2.
So yeah, if you're scared typically of kind of those, almost I don't know if I'd call it war style games, but like battling game.
Yeah.
This one might be worth checking out to see if it's
Even
something.
I like this one. I don't even like combat in games.
Characters
so.
for everyone.
Yeah.
Maybe not everyone, but
Once they stop
They're gonna
with
get
this,
there.
they gotta stop this Marvel stuff, and we'll
Well,
see.
I think they're done with it.
on
Okay.
to DC.
Please, no. All right. My number one
Oh,
and my number 2 are like basically interchangeable. It just depends on the day and the number of players, basically. So my number 2, officially, was my number 2 last year, and it was 13 the year before.
Oh wow, Mac.
I love this game. I love it, and people don't like me for it, but I love it, and I make them play it over and over and over again. And it is Red Rising. There's just something about this game that just hits it for me. Like, I love playing with the cards. I love trying to figure out where to lay it, where to pick up from, how to get my points. What?
How has this past year of events not allowed this to get in the top spot?
past year of events.
You
I-
finished the most recent book. You said that's the best one yet.
I know.
That didn't push
I
it
have
up.
I have read there are 6 books behind this one and a 7th one coming. Pierce, you better get that 7th one written.
Well, he's not gonna now.
I know.
He's
The
gonna
re-
take his sweet time.
Well, it's
since
like-
he's,
2?
well,
I'm waiting until she hits number 1.
the player count.
He's
at
got all day.
6 and 5 is
It goes. Oh, yeah,
is
it does.
just not as fun as if you play it at a lower player count or up to 4. I think it just gets a little long. It gets really hard to manage the cards and stuff. It's still good. It's just a little bit more frustrating at that point. So it's just like a teeny thing, but there's also a teeny thing with my number 1 too. So it's like they're like the same. So 1 and 2 are the same. I don't know how else to say it. And so I love Red Rising. I know people compare it to Fantasy Realms. I feel like they don't give Red Rising a
Fantasy
chance.
Realms sucks. I mean, we
I know.
played it. Compared to this,
Yeah.
no.
Yes.
And I know you
I ain't going
guys
with
with Red Rising. I mean, I'm glad it's
No
at least in
offense.
your top 60. I'm glad it's at least in.
I will give Fantasy Realms because I think people are probably doing the same thing with Red Rising. I'll
Yeah.
give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe with more plays, you'd begin to see some
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I would say the same thing with Red Rising. On
Yeah.
an initial play, you might not
Yeah.
necessarily see things that are in the game still.
That's very true. Red Rising is still better. I like the board
Yeah.
aspect. I know you guys. I think you both have it in your top 60s.
Yep.
And so I'm very grateful for that because you have to play it a lot with me around. And I do feel like the board and that stuff just adds such a fun element to it with picking up and laying down and trying to get points. I don't know. For me, it's just like the creme de la creme of what a board game could be for me. And
Do
I
we have a
love it.
counter for how many times you say that?
I love it. Okay, I'll be
Yeah,
quiet.
that's
I'll be quiet.
Too
now.
bad it's literally unplayable now that you have your Daro card signed and aren't going
No,
to use it.
we just gotta put it back in the box.
Oh boy.
Well, you haven't requested a replacement copy.
We'll get there.
It's based on a book. What's more to love?
Wow.
What is?
Number 2. I was thinking of pulling some shenanigans, putting this up to number 1 to prove a point because you guys hate it so much. But now that you kind
Coloretto?
of massacred my number 1, I had to keep. I gotta give some love to that. So my number 2
I
is
massacred both of them apparently.
Bunny Kingdom.
BK.
If it got, I actually did get here first compared to my number 1, but this is pretty much my number 1. It's a tie,
Yeah.
kind of like you as well, Mac. This was my 3, and I was like, no, this is my 2, and now it's still my 2. It's one of the best looking games we have, one of the most adorable games we have. Little warrior bunnies.
With the
Those
expansion.
vicious bunnies.
Vicious bunnies. I love the artwork. The colors, so colorful. The player colors in the base game, you have some like
Little
red,
weird.
yellow, black. It's like pink's good, and the purple's and good from the expansion. The player colors could have been a little different, but everything else is so colorful. My favorite artwork on those parchment cards, kind of bring into life all of these scoring conditions. It's not really area control. It's since you're not really fighting over places unless you do use traps. It's just a grid of spaces, and you're trying to create large groups and put resources in them, and you're going to multiply them by the spires on your castles within that group. And they have like a table, multiplication table, and the scores can get pretty massive in this. Scoring in-game with those fiefs as well as end-game. If you're up 100 points, but someone went for parchment cards, there's
They
a very
might-
good chance you could lose,
Mhm.
because it could be even more points scored in parchment than in the castles the whole game.
Right.
It's such a high-scoring game, so satisfying, so rewarding. I love it. It's a perfect game.
It is.
Perfect expansion made all the not as great cards better
Yeah.
with
It
those
is.
coins.
They did.
It is a great game.
Oh, it's amazing.
I love the coins.
The coins are great.
They're good.
Like,
They're
oh, a
very good.
meaningless space. Oh, it's next to this other meaningless space. I get a coin. That's like 9 points.
Yes.
If you can manage that, I guess I maybe don't manage that well.
wow.
No, it's a great game. It's
It's
in my
amazing.
top 60. I love Bunny Kingdom.
It's a great game. Well, I'm to the one that I'm pretty sure that you guys think is my number 1.
I actually don't know. I had all of yours that I thought were in there in my
I've
head.
got two. I think it could be either of
So
them.
I'm trying not to think of them because I want to be surprised.
Okay. Well, this one is one that if we grow our subscriber count a bit more, all the way to 1,000, we will be giving away a copy of
I
it.
thought this would be one, but
That's what I thought you'd think.
That's
but-
why it's not.
That's why it's not. It was number 3 the last 2 years. It is Wingspan. And of course, it's another crossover. I get to say these ones after everyone else has said them. But yeah, Wingspan is just an amazing engine building game. This might be my most played game from last year, even on Board Game Arena. Yeah, I think I'm over 100 plays of it on there, if not more. It might be over 200, I don't know. But yeah, it's just such an amazing game. And the expansions just add, more. Even if you just got more birds, and actually, they recently came out with vision-friendly cards. So if you want just the birds, I know they have not done well on selling these vision-friendly cards. So I'm sure Jamie would be very happy if you wanted just to buy the vision-friendly cards, to just get the card version from all the expansions, if you have just the base game. Because they all add some, I don't know, really cool new things each time.
Yeah.
And I'm just really excited to see where it'll go in the future. Because it feels like a lot of things have already been thought up in the cards. So we'll see if Elizabeth can come up with some more
Combat.
combat. But no, this one, great engine building. This is it is my favorite one, with the whole deck being all different cards and stuff.
Yeah.
This is the one I was talking about when I was talking about Terraforming Mars. I just love games that have every card being different. Just really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look at us,
Great pick.
Stonemeyer in our top 2.
I'm the
And
one
my,
with
like-
the, and I'm
and
the
my,
one with
like-
the shirt.
By like 10th or 11th Stonemeyer game in my top 60.
Well, someone's gonna have one in his top 1.
I think so. My top 1 is my top 1 from last year. It's my top 1 from the year before. This game just
Afraid of change.
does not miss. Is more like it. And you understand that, I think, based on your recent or your past top 1s. You understand that some games just don't miss. You messed that up this year.
Wow.
But some games are just perfect, and this is one of them. Cartographers is amazing. There's so much replayability. There's an amazing player count that you can do with this game. It's polyomino shaped. It's just everything. And I think the only nick that it gets is just that you need colored pencils on this. It doesn't come with it, but run down to your store and get like the $1, $2 pack, okay? And it'll just make your game that much better. I love this game ever since we got it. We have the Heroes expansion, which I think is good, but I don't think anything will come close to like just the original straight up drawing polyomino on whatever the map was to start with game. I just love it. I can't say enough good things about this game.
It is. It's a great game.
It's a really good one.
It's another one you guys have to play with me. Regardless.
We haven't played it recently. We
No, we haven't.
need to play it some more, and we're gonna get
Some
Eventually get
content.
some
We keep
content.
promising.
I know.
We keep
I
holding
keep
the
saying I'm gonna
bait
do-
out there.
I'm going to do content on it,
content.
but we just have so much other content to do. so.
Yes, but we are going to get to that after this unmatched tournament.
Oh, boy. When do you think we'll get to play the games?
We will see. Well, we're playing unmatched in
Yeah,
the tournament,
that's true.
so that's
Yeah,
good. Good for me anyway. I'm the one that
Cartographers.
likes unmatched.
It's a great game.
Hey, it was in
It's
my
a great
top
game.
31.
That's true.
Cartographers.
My number 1, as you may have figured out by now, the Stonemeyer game, who some don't respect as much as they used to. And
I knew this was coming.
That is Tapestry. It's my number 1 all 3 years now.
Yep. See, you get it.
It's just perfect. It's not totally balanced, but I don't care. I'm not using the adjustments until they make a complete set. Send those. We buy them.
I
I
think-
don't have to send them free.
I think they are getting close to having that done.
Yeah.
So
And
we'll see, though.
I've seen some of them, and it looks like they actually really change them up,
I do
like
really
to a whole new
appreciate that.
ability.
Huh.
So I'm really excited for those. 'Cause that's like just
Yeah.
brand new Civs.
So I think
You
initially,
can play them against their old selves. Look forward.
yeah,
to that
look forward to
content.
that. That's happening. Because I think originally some of their like changes were you get a resource or
10
an
points
extra resource or points,
whatever.
and it's like that's not fun. And that felt even less balanced because
Yeah.
it totally changes the whole game if someone's starting with different amounts of resources
Yep.
and getting the first incomes and stuff, getting bonus stuff. I was like, I don't know if that really helps the way that they think. So I love that they're
Yeah.
completely rewriting the book.
Yeah. Rewrite it. I'm just so excited for that. I haven't tried the third expansion, the Fantasies and
Ooh.
Futures. I have not tried any Civs from there or any
That's
of the new
great.
maps. I'm very excited. I've loved all the expansions so far. Arts and Architecture. We loved so much that we filmed an unreleased first impression video of that went for like 40 plus minutes.
It's unreleased.
Yes, we never released it because it was just way too long. I don't know how we talked about that for that long.
We just loved it so much. It's amazing, and
You guys are ramblers.
it's a big game. It's got so much to do.
We
and
got a
it's-
lot of Tapestry content too,
Tap Talk. The return of Tap Talk's got to happen sometime.
and we've got our Civ rankings and all that. That's
Yeah.
gonna have
We're
to
gonna
be
have
redone.
to redo the Civ
Oh,
rankings.
boy, we got a
I
lot
got
to
the Civ
do.
rankings paper right
Sorry,
here.
sorry, cartographers.
Pushing
We're getting
back
we're
another
getting
2
Tapestry
years.
back in the
I'll
top
just
one.
take my cartographer's box and play with people off the
Wow.
sidewalk or something.
You can just chalk on the sidewalk.
There we
There
go.
you go. But yeah, just so rewarding. Most rewarding game we have, and it's doesn't burn my brain in a bad way. It's like there's
Yeah.
so many options, so many turns you can think ahead, but it's very simple, the cost to move up the action. It's not like, 15 coins, then you're going to get a 3 discount, and you're going to get all these different resources. It's just like wild cost on a lot of them,
Mhm.
but you can have whatever. Gives you the ability to adjust as you go,
Mhm.
and I'm just able to think so many turns ahead, and that's satisfying because I'm usually not able to do that in these bigger games.
Yeah.
So, perfect.
Great pick. Well, my number one.
I'm trying not
felt like it deserved this. It's probably deserved a good spot
I
for a
don't
while.
believe this.
I'm trying not to think of what it could be.
It was my number 17 2 years ago. And this is one
I don't believe it.
that one of you has already mentioned in this top 10 list.
I don't believe it.
And you thought
Just rocking like a
it
child.
would be it would be a crossover with you on that number.
Oh my God!
Bruno Catala has finally found himself in the top spot
Oh.
of a list with 5 tribes.
Guarantee it doesn't stay there for next year.
Oh, wow!
You
It-
haven't
it
even
is good.
played this.
I played it with Taylor twice.
Oh, that did.
Oh, that's right. You did.
I did.
Like,
Like
within
playing with
the
him
last
more than me, I guess.
within
Well, actually,
the last 3 weeks, I think.
It might even be 3 times, 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
I could play this game over and over and over, and whenever I think of this game, it gets me excited, and it really should have been even higher. What? It's an amazing game.
Okay.
I'm just so giddy to play it.
Yeah.
And when I saw it on, he had sent me a list. Taylor sent me a list of like 30 games
Yeah.
that I could bring, and when I saw 5 tribes, I'm like, I'm bringing that because I want to play it.
That's
'Cause
the only one.
you don't like 5 tribes. We figured
Well, if
that
I'm
out
gonna
earlier.
spend my time playing a game, I'm gonna make it a game I like to play.
Well, that's fair. But no, just that picking up the workers, like you said, trying to place them in the best way you can, trying not to, fill a spot with too many of the same color, thinking about that, or potentially trying to fill them with the same color if you've got back-to-back turns in our 2-player games specifically, because I don't know. If I have to go by Michaela's standards, looking at it like, all player counts, then yes, it's probably not number 1 then. But at the 2-player count,
Like I said,
this
they're
one's just a
the same.
perfect game. Like I said, I just get excited every time I see it and look at it.
Yeah,
I've never been like looking at it like, yeah, I have no interest in playing that. Just every time I'm like, I kind of want to play that. I kind of want to play that.
It's like those.
My reaction's the first one. I have no interest in playing that.
It's like those watches where it's like glass and you can see into the mechanisms. That's what I see when I look at this board. It's just so cool and so complex.
Mhm.
It's great. It's an amazing game. I'm so happy. I forgive you totally for not
I was
having.
gonna say, I think Pepper's gonna forgive me. I don't know about Michaela, but
If
Pepper's
it-
definitely going to.
If it weren't Bruno Catala, you'd be in trouble. But yeah, that's it's an amazing game.
Yeah, even I thought Wingspan was gonna make it, but then I think I had this even before we went up to be with Taylor and Kristen. But then after I played it again, I was like, oh, that really does deserve that spot. I think because for as much as I like and love Wingspan and stuff, this one just gets me even more excited somehow,
Yeah.
some way.
Yeah,
And maybe it's because I haven't played it 100
That's
times.
true.
Like
I'm-
Wingspan. I don't know. But I think I'd still love it just as much because there's just so much change from game to game. You never
Yeah.
know how those are going to come out.
I'm glad you like it.
it's great. Great looking game. Great looking game. Gives you a
Great
lot of
production.
wood, a lot of great components, meeples, palaces.
Gives us a good reason to keep it.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a three-way crossover.
It's alright.
I would stand up. But
And there's
not
another
room.
top 100 to finish it off. But yeah, that is our top 10 games of all time. Let us know which one you agree with most. I would say all of our top ones are probably ones that aren't picked by too many people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let us know if that's totally wrong assumption,
Yeah.
or let me know. I guess I was the one making that assumption, not you, not bringing you guys into that. But
I feel like there's some solid ones in the top 10 that
Yeah.
I could see others really liking, but I think we got some obscure ones too.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise stick around for I think the stats video will be coming out next week along with the giveaway winners being announced. So make sure you're watching for that. Whatever we end up getting to by that point, yeah, we may have multiple winners hopefully. But otherwise, we hope to see you on some of our other content. And as always, don't forget to
Keep on nibbling.
on our content.